Fernando Gonzalez has won 4 in a row as a Bellator mixed martial artist, and the underdog continues to, well, shock everybody. He's recorded wins over Carl Amusu, Carl Parisian, Marius Aramskis, and most recently Curtis Melender. He'd been called out previously by his opponent here tonight. Wasn't ready at the time to accept the challenge under MMA rules, but decided this would be a terrific platform to finally face off with Paul Daley. So Fernando Gonzalez, who does have a background in the striking arts, makes his glory debut.
Yeah, and he's chosen a really tough opponent, Paul Daley. He's very confident he could beat Paul Daley in either MMA or kickboxing, but here he is in kickboxing, primarily a southpaw, and he can switch effectively. A real explosive straight left and right, left roundhouse kick as well. When Gonzalez switches stances, you got to really look out for that left hook, but I don't know if he wants to throw a left hook with Paul Daley.
Started working with Dan Henderson when Hendo was preparing for his first fight with Vitor Belfort at Pride 32 Las Vegas back in October 2006. The first event held outside of Japan by our former employer, Steven, and you definitely can sense the ghost of Pride Fighting Championship. Scott Coker, of course, a promoter who is a huge fan of what went down in the land of the rising sun and doing his best to recreate it here tonight.
Where's my money? In the white corner, from England,
Paul Semtex Daley, 32 years of age. His nickname says it all. Semtex, an explosive material that the British Armed Forces used to demolish large structures. Well, that left hook of his is a pretty destructive weapon as well.
He really is. He's got exceptional striking fundamentals and ring generalship. Great defense, elbows in, hands high, and you know, he can work behind the jab and he can box, but boy, he really likes to get things done inside the distance, and he usually does it with punches, although he's got a great kicking arsenal.
Daley has had his ups and downs in his career, has missed weight on numerous occasions, was kicked out of the UFC after sucker punching Josh Koscheck. They are now fighting under the same umbrella in Bellator, but here he makes his glory debut. Has plenty of experience in kickboxing, 20-3 record, 17 wins inside the distance. And we go to the tail of the tape for this catch-weight affair.
And both of these gentlemen are in their early 30s and the same height. And as gutsy as Gonzalez is, he's still facing a man with much more experience in Daley in kickboxing. So my advice to Fernando is to stay cool and take this deep into the second and third rounds.
With the official introductions, let's go back to the center of the ring. Here's Tim Hughes.
All right, San Jose, this glory kickboxing battle, scheduled at a catch weight of 175 pounds, scheduled also for 3 3-minute rounds. Introducing first, standing on my right and fighting out of the black corner, a former WBC US Muay Thai champion. As a mixed martial artist, a veteran of almost 40 fights. As a kickboxer, his young record, 1 win with 2 losses. At 5 feet 9 inches tall, 1.75 meters, he weighed in at 175.5 pounds, 79.7 kilos. He fights tonight out of Menifee, California. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Menifee Maniac, Fernando Gonzalez. Here now is his opponent, standing on my left and fighting out of the white corner. One of the most prolific strikers in all of combat sports. A former European and World Muay Thai champion. His kickboxing record, 20 wins with 3 losses, 17 of those wins coming by way of knockout. At 5 feet 9 inches tall, 1.75 meters, he weighed in at fight time at an even 170 pounds, 77.3 kilos. He fights tonight out of Nottingham, England. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Paul Santos Daley. And your referee in charge of the Glory Ring is Marcos Rosales.
Paul Daley involved in maybe maybe the greatest round in MMA history against Nick Diaz, and now making his Glory debut against Gonzalez, who is riding plenty of momentum thanks to a 4-fight win streak in Bellator. But this is under Glory rules, and it's Gonzalez in the black gloves, Daley in the white.
Daley exploding with that right roundhouse kick right away. That'll get you thinking about your body and your leg like that. That low kick landed. Oh, man. Good left kick by Daley.
Again, just 3-minute rounds in Glory. And that's why it's considers itself the fastest fight sport on TV. Not a lot of time to go throughout the feeling of process, which, of course, is endemic to those with a Muay Thai background, Stephen.
Man, these roundhouse kicks are beautiful. I know exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to get Gonzalez thinking about the kicks, and he's going to drop the bomb with the hands.
Daley spent a week in Romania sparring with recent Glory heavyweight title challenger Benjamin Adegbuyi, and believe it or not, they actually sparred with each other.
Oh my God, that guy's taller than a building.
So, cavalcade of kicks here between Daley and Gonzalez. I guess they said, hey, if we're going to go in, we're going to go all in and make this a kicking affair.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Gonzalez missing weight by 5 pounds. He turned 32 on Tuesday. I guess he felt he could have his cake and eat it too, Stephen, as he was docked 20% of his purse, 10% to the California Commission, the other 10% to Paul Daley, who he's now trying to, well, take some of that back with that combination.
Gonzalez just landed a couple short left hands over the top, which could be telling of what he's planning, because he's hanging back right now, maybe to see what Daley has to offer, but he's staying out of range also. There's Daley with the left hook to the body.
And there's a left hand to the body by Gonzalez. 45 seconds remain in the first round. Gonzalez trying to come in at angles while Daley whips off the right body kick. More of just a stinging kick. And there, another low kick by Daley.
Yeah, the problem with circling to your left to stay away from the left hook is you're going to walk into those right low kicks.
Daley began training in karate at the age of 7. First realized he had knockout power when he was just 15. Began training in MMA at 18 years old, and get this, he's a natural southpaw, but stands orthodox, just like Jerry Koenig back in the day. But that left hand, that left hook power, as we have a bunch of kicks to talk about in round number 1.
Time!
He's throwing singles.
Paul Daley really initiated the
The
action in that first round, so I have to say that he won that 10-9.
You throw one shot.
It was surprising to me that he stuck primarily with kicks, but I know the game plan.
I need you
He's trying to chop, and then he's probably going to end with a left hook once Gonzalez starts to drop his hands and try and pick off a leg. They seem pretty confident in Daley's corner, doing an impersonation of their opponent in Fernando Gonzalez.
It is indeed Dynamite, and maybe the wick was just lit in the opening round. I have a feeling things are going to pick up here in round 2 between Paul Daley and Fernando Gonzalez.
Daley starts right off with the left jab and a feeler out, straight right hand.
Daley in the white gloves, Gonzalez in the black. How did you score it on your unofficial scorecard as Gonzalez eats a stiff jab, Stephen?
I got Paul Daley winning the first round 10-9. He was the aggressor. He threw more shots. They were basically catching the outside of the shell, the defensive shell of Fernando Gonzalez, but he still outscored it. Gonzalez with a nice straight left hand to the body there, but he's leaning into harm's way though.
Fans may remember Gonzalez from his time with WEC King of the Cage and Strikeforce before settling into Bellator, and now making his Glory debut. Right hand behind the guard, followed by a sneaky left down the middle. 1 minute gone here in round 2, and now Gonzalez beginning to walk down Daley. But again, Daley, you always have to be careful. He can detonate that left hook at any time.
Yeah, Gonzalez is a pretty decent brawler, and that's what he's going to have to be here.
He's got some technique there with that combination.
Exactly, but those overhand punches, those are going to be money to him, because if he sits there and tries to do a technical match with Daley, it's probably not going to go too well for him.
When this fight was first announced, Daley was disappointed. No disrespect to Gonzalez. He had called out Glory's best. There's a knee to the chin. He wanted to face Glory welterweight champion Nikki Holzken, and man, that just makes me salivate thinking about that, Stephen. And he does hold a fast victory over Alexander Stetsarenko, who gave Holzken a tough fight recently.
Yeah, Stetsarenko is a beast. One of the greatest fighters to come out of Russia. He had 3 classics with Artem Levin, who's currently the middleweight champion. So that's a big win for Paul Daley against Stetsarenko.
Of course, Artem Levin was supposed to defend the title coming up at Glory 24 in Denver, but is injured. It will be Joe Schilling against Jason Wilness. You are watching Paul Daley in the white gloves, Fernando Gonzalez in the black, and there's a whipping body kick by Daley.
Yeah, Fernandez is switching stances, and he's trying to land. He landed a good clipping right hand there, but when he switches, he doesn't really initiate any punching attacks.
And one thing that's missing, and a little surprising considering we're heading to the 3rd and final round, I thought we'd see a few more sustained exchanges. Which is not to take away from the IQ that each is using as Gonzalez comes in on Daley.
Stop on the bell, gentlemen. Stop on the bell.
Daley was all about punches in that round, a few kicks, but boy, that jab looked real good. Double jab connecting with that second punch.
Look at this guy. Also to the right, to the middle. He's open to the
Good, so tight. Looking out for work racing, yeah?
Get up, ball. Keep it simple.
Thank you, sir.
The action is just underway here in the 3rd and final round, and already it's picked up with Daley becoming more aggressive, listening to his corner, Mike Passanier, who, of course, the coach at Mike's gym, one of the most decorated gyms in all of kickboxing, has produced the likes of Badr Hari, Myrtle Grunhart.
Yeah, but Fernando Gonzalez is getting busy here too.
And he has to.
Yeah, he really does, because to me, I've gotten behind the 8 ball by 2 rounds. So he's really got to do something big here, at least get a couple knockdowns or a knockout to win this fight.
Gonzalez had limited amateur experience as a boxer. We saw some kicks. Look at the combinations now being put together by Daley, but he eats that jab now as Gonzalez switching stances, now southpaw.
Yeah, this is the exact fight that Gonzalez should initiate. Get it into a brawl. Wow. Stay close and be careful of that left hook.
I don't know if we expected so many kicks from Paul Daley, but again, it is kickboxing, and though he's known for his devastating power with his punches, is well versed in all aspects of kickboxing. Gonzalez biting down on his gum shield, coming forward, but is kept at bay with those kicks from Daley. Right hand to the temple. Right kick, and Daley avoiding the shot by Gonzalez, but that was a trip.
Yeah, unintentional. Yeah. Unintentional. The thing that surprises me is that Gonzalez is standing toe-to-toe in some of these exchanges and not paying the price. And that's because he's throwing pretty hard.
Good outside low kick by Daley, chopping away at Gonzalez, who comes forward with punches. Coming up on the final 60 seconds of the fight. Maybe not the fistic fireworks we expected, and yet there's still 57 seconds left. And there's a nice left hand in the inside by Gonzalez. Daley, is he going to the kicking well too much? We've yet to really see him try to deliver that left hook.
It's as if he's trying to be versatile, but you know, Gonzalez is hard to figure out.
Go with what got you to the dance.
Yeah, Gonzalez is hard to figure out. He's a very game guy.
And he is crowding Daley, and the aggressive Gonzalez with a left hook on the outside. Daley in trouble along the ropes, fighting off, but Gonzalez acquitting himself much better here in the third round.
It really is, that straight left hand right there.
And now they're throwing punches in bunches. 15 seconds left in the fight. Daley in the corner. Gonzalez wanting to send the judges a message. Will this be enough?
10 seconds!
Depends how they saw the first 2 rounds, but exchange now as they go down the stretch. And some fireworks at the end of the fight. So, Daley, Gonzalez go the distance. Paul Daley, did he do enough? He weathered that storm at the end from Gonzalez, Stephen.
Yeah, Gonzalez pretty much stole that third round, but Daley put 2 in the bank early, so Daley wins the fight for sure. But Gonzalez, man, he really impressed me.
Were you impressed with Paul Daley?
I'm always impressed with Paul Daley's technique, but it's like he kind of held back or maybe took Gonzalez lightly. I'm not sure. I was really surprised. I thought maybe he was going to finish Gonzalez, but Gonzalez hung tough and came back roaring in that third round.
If you want more information on upcoming Glory events or more info on your favorite fighters, check out the new website address, glorykickboxing.com, glorykickboxing.com, and we're headed to Denver for Glory 24 coming up on Friday, October 9th. A great look at the crowd on hand here for Dynamite. We now go to Tim Hughes for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, you watched it as it happened, and after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard. They give us back a unanimous decision, scoring this bout 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27, all for your winner, Paul Daley!
Paul Daley picks up the unanimous decision win. Not a popular decision here in San Jose.